Toy Spot. We are having a look at the Hasbro Marvel Legends Build-A-Figure Absorbing Man wave. We're looking today at Venom. Venom was the most excited figure, the figure I had the most excitement for of all the figures released in this set. Notably so, it's also the figure I was dreading the most as well because I really knew what I was going to be getting. A potential short and squatty Venom. Maybe he will not be like that. We'll certainly see when we get this package opened up. But I really don't like the fact that they used a body build that I already thought was short and squatty to start off with. I don't know. Let's see how he looks when we get him out of packaging. Speaking of packaging, Venom comes with an alternate head, comes with an alternate pair of hands, and comes with not one, but two heads of Absorbing Man. Side of the package features one image of Venom, on the other side the exact same image of Venom. The back, a sinister symbiote, Venom mimics the powers of Spider-Man and plots to take down the web-slinging hero once and for all. That's also artwork from the figure, just in case you were wondering. Other figures available are the Edge of Spider-Verse Spider-Man, Edge of Spider-Verse Spider-Gwen, Villains of the Night Morbius, Villains of the Night Jack-O-Lantern, Venom, Superior Foes of Spider-Man Beetle, and Superior Foes of Spider-Man Speed Demon. Collect all 7 figures to build Absorbing Man that you see right here. However, if you only want to do the bare basics, you really only need 5 figures if you don't necessarily need the ball, the wrecking ball, and if you don't need a secondary pair of arms. Spot's going to take a break and get this opened up, but when we come back, we're going to get a better look at the Marvel Legends Spider-Man series or Absorbing Man series. We're looking at Venom. Stay tuned, guys. There's more heading your way. Don't go anywhere. Just before we touch base on Venom, let's have a look at the Build-A-Figure pieces that he comes with. One of which he comes with is, well, an unaffected human head of Absorbing Man. If you want something a little bit busier, however, he also comes with a more affected Absorbing Man that has the stone on the side of his face. Kind of reminds me of the Build-A-Figure Rhino wave. The Screaming Rhino didn't quite make as much sense, but by contrast to kind of a very uninteresting head sculpt, I ultimately went with the more Screaming Rhino head. Now that I'm looking at the two figures, this one kind of reminds me of like an old school Absorbing Man, but there's something really cool about this particular one with especially the gold eye. I think that's a really nice touch. So let's reach off camera. Oh, there goes Venom. Let's just get Venom to hopefully stand. Reach off camera, there is Absorbing Man, what we've accomplished so far. You can see what I mean though, if you add the ball joint head, or if you add the head to the ball joint, which is very stiff, do try your best, Spot, not to roll the head onto the floor, but there is Absorbing Man with the regular human head. I don't know why, for some reason he's got such a big egg head. He looks like that guy that was in Star Trek. He was also in The Hills Have Eyes. I think he was in Star Trek, but I know he was in Hills Have Eyes. You know that actor I'm thinking of, the one with the really long, there goes Venom again, with the really long head. I guess by comparisons, maybe this one is just a little bit more on the interesting side. This looks more like Absorbing Man, to be honest, from like the comics that I used to grow up reading. This one looks just, I think, a little bit more cooler. Though if you're going to be going, I think, this head option, the fact that you would want to carry over that to the stone arm, I think it looks like probably a better choice, to be honest. Still not certain. The verdict's not out with which look I'm going to go with, but I like the fact that with Absorbing Man, you have a lot of options, different hand options, different arm options, different head options. So again, I'm still not certain which one I'm going to go with, but in the meantime, this may be my default look. Kind of boring, kind of drabby. Yeah, that's me. Okay, so let's move that to the side. Let's look at Venom, who, for some reason, I cannot get him to properly stand. Venom comes with one alternate head. Actually, you know what? Let's look at this head first, and we'll then look at the other components also after that. For his body, yeah, he is a little on the short and a little squatty side. I think the culprit, and I mentioned this before, I think the culprit is these legs. The fact that he's got cankles, which are basically calves that go right into ankles, for those who did not know. I think the legs could have afforded to be just a little bit longer. This is the same issue that I had with all these figures that have been using this mold. The Sabretooth was, I think, my first introduction to this mold, where I thought right from the beginning something seemed off about Sabretooth. And sure enough, for me, it was those legs. Everything just... This part looks proportionate. This section right here looks short and almost on the chunky side. This body also was carried over to Toxin, which I did not like the mold then either. And it was also carried over to Anti-Venom, which was the other one there. And again, just not crazy on this short, squat mold. Which I don't know, if maybe it's the same mold. I'm trying to think of another figure that would have used this mold. I can't think of one at the moment. But I kind of wish that they would gravitate away from using this body build. Just by comparison here, let's reach off camera to show you Spider-Man. Venom is tall. I mean, you know, he's a good scale height bigger than, you know, Spider-Man. He should be bigger, after all. Broader, definitely, yes. But I don't know, like the legs, if you look at them, are almost the same length to one another. Which doesn't really make sense for a figure that, you know, is so much bigger. Why does he have the same length of leg as Spider-Man? Slightly unfair comparison as well, let's just move these out of the way, is to reach off camera, and I know we're going to kind of be comparing McDonald's to like a steakhouse here, but there is the Marvel Select Venom. Yeah, he is sculpted a lot nicer, but like, I don't know, I feel like he needed to have skinnier legs going down to the ankles. And this is one thing that this particular... It's one of the only Marvel Legends figure that does that. In fact, even if you go back to Spider-Man, Spider-Man's calf area is a lot broader than it is in the ankle area. And it's supposed to teeter off. It's supposed to get thinner as it gets down to the ankle. And that maybe is the culprit with this particular figure, this mold. This mold needs to get a thinner leg as it gets closer to the ankle. They just kept everything very broad, and as a result, he looks very squatty and stumpy. Let's move. Oh, I love this figure. Let's move Venom out of the way here. Okay, so without nitpicking this figure to death, because I know I probably will, face-wise, it's not bad. There's something weird about the face. It looks not so bad from maybe the sides, but when you look at it from the front, something looks like it goes a little too much in and then jets itself back out. It kind of looks like somebody took Venom's face and just kind of squished it, just like went like that. If this isn't maybe your bread and butter, however, you can also swap the head out for something, well, maybe a little bit more recent memory of what people think Venom as, with the tongue and the slime. Oh, I love that. I think that's really cool. Let's go ahead and take the head off, which again is on a ball joint. And let's grab the alternate head and apply a little bit of pressure. Oh, there we go. There we go. And I think without any doubt, that probably is a nicer looking face if you ask me. The same thing actually as the Marvel Legends Anti-Venom. The same thing I said by comparisons to that and the Marvel Select version. Where I think the sculpt suffers a bit on this particular Venom, where it makes up for it though, is really good paint. Really good paint. That slime looks awesome. The slime on his teeth also is a nice touch. The tongue is not removable. I don't believe it is actually removable. No, it is affixed in there. So I think this is my preferred look for this particular figure with the tongue out. You notice though with the Marvel Select Venom, I still kind of had him defaulted back to his sinister big smile, which I love. I love that look on him. But I think this Venom, I might keep the tongue sticking out much more so. One issue as well with this particular figure, and it's something I also was expecting, is that the logo on his chest is not well enough defined. They've sculpted in actually where the eyes are. They haven't just simply painted them over. So there is a groove that you probably can very easily see going around the eyes where this is sculpted in. Why they couldn't have done that also with the body, but I know they wanted to use the same mold without having to really tweak it all that much. I wish they had actually gone in with maybe, like down here it's pretty good. Up here though, it gets a little on the blurry side, unfortunately. My art skills are not such that I would probably go in with a marker but I wish that this same sort of marker detailing on the leg area could have also carried off to the edge here and just kind of finished it up a little bit more so it didn't look as a little on the, again, on that blurry side. The hands are good. The hands are pretty clean, the little squares on his hands. A dot there as well on both sides. He also has a couple of pairs of closed fists, depending on if you don't want Venom with open hands, but I think this is a one default look that I'm likely going to keep with this figure. I don't see the reason for why I would want to keep the figure with closed fists all the time. Open hands, I think, a much preferred look for me. Articulation wise on Venom, he has the ball joint in the head, which also has a really nice hinge. Not that you would move the head that far back, but he does have a good range of motion in the neck area there. Shoulders are on a ball hinge joint, rotate all the way around, a swivel point in the bicep. He has a double hinged elbow. Rotation in the hand, which also hinges back and forth. He has the upper torso crunch, very clickety there. Swivel point in the waist. Ball joint legs. Top swivel on the thigh. Double hinged knees. Swivel in the boot. Hinge in the foot. And yes, it does pivot a little bit back and forth. Well, I mean, this figure as a whole, I'm not crazy about it, and I know exactly what the reasoning is, and maybe others will disagree, and that's okay. That's the whole purpose of one's opinions. One opinion may differ from another, but hopefully you guys can see what I'm talking about. Like the calf cankle area is way too thick. Maybe making it just a little bit thinner could have helped a little bit, but I think ultimately the figure just proportionally doesn't quite match. This, if I was to put my hand right like that, I think the figure looks good. And if you kind of look at it for a while, you think, okay, yeah, that's a good proportioned figure. Then when I remove my hand, maybe you can see what I'm talking about. It looks a little too short and chunky. Still, though, it's maybe one of the only Venoms we're going to get for a while, at least from the Marvel Legends line. And if you want something to scale, I think this is a good Venom to go with. To be honest, though, my favorite Venom will still be the Marvel Select Venom. Today's Toy Spot, we were having a look at the Hasbro Marvel Legends Infinite. Well, it wasn't the Infinite series. We're looking at the Marvel Legends Absorbing Man Wave. We're looking today at a slightly disappointing Venom. If you guys are interested in picking up the set for yourself, you can head over to entertainmentearth.com. They've got the whole set currently available, and I would say that this is one set I think you would want to pick up if you're a Marvel Legends fan. Stay tuned, guys. Spot's only got really 2 videos left. We're going to have a look at the Spider-Gwen, and then we're going to have a look at Absorbing Man. His video will be coming shortly after that. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.